ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, presents NASCAR. Tonight live from America's hometown track, South Boston Speedway in South Boston, Virginia, we present the inaugural Craftsman Truck Series NetZero 250 presented by John Boy and Billy. With just 5 minutes remaining on the $12 million tour, we have the closest points battle in the 7-year history of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Just 27 points separate Rutland and Sprague. The top 6 are separated by 153, with Cook, Setzer, Crawford, and Gibbs rounding out the top 10.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jerry, tonight could be a very pivotal night in the Truck Series Championship chase. Why? Well, back here behind me is Joe Ruttman. He's qualified 10th tonight. He's currently 2nd in points. And behind me over on this side is Scott Riggs. He's going to qualify 8th and start 8th tonight. But they're chasing the point leader, who's all the way up front. And there's a lot of good trucks in between these guys and the pole setter, which is Jack Sprague. Now, I think the championship could be decided right here tonight. Why? Because the next couple of races on our schedule are on big tracks like California and Las Vegas. But there's nothing like racing at South Boston. There's going to be a lot of beating and a lot of banging. And the guy that comes in with the championship point lead, Jack Sprague, might not lead with it. This could be the pivotal race of the 2001 championship. Amy?
Well, after 2 years of hard luck in the Cup Series, Mike Bliss has made full circle, and he's done it in style. From the 3rd starting position, Bliss hopes to revive his NASCAR career, while IWX is looking to renew their Truck Series relationship, and both will be carrying the most successful number in all of Truck Series history. 25 times the number 16 has visited Victory Lane. If Bliss can make it 26, you can bet this winning combo may be back full-time in 2002.
Well, thank you, Amy and Ray. You know, after a most trying couple of weeks, the flags are finally flying back at full staff. And everywhere you look, patriotic Americans are proudly remembering those courageous individuals whose lives were lost in the name of freedom. A special group of guests well known to many NASCAR fans will give the command. And now, for those famous words in motorsports, I'll turn it over to our Grand Marshal, Papa Joe Hendrick.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
And the reason that command was so special for Papa Joe and Rick Hendrick is because they are from Palmer Springs, Virginia. There's Linda Hendrick, Rick's wife, and the lovely wife. They grew up about 38 miles away, and when Rick was a little boy, his mom and dad, Mary and Papa Joe, would bring him here to this racetrack in South Boston, sitting in a lawn chair in turn 3. They built his first race car in an old bathroom of an abandoned schoolhouse. This was where it all began for the Hendrick dream, and Papa Joe and some wonderful folks like Frank Edwards and others made it happen. And there's where they sat up in turn 3 in a folding chairs, and there's young Ricky Hendrick. Frank Edwards was his dad's crew chief. Frank Edwards will be sharing as a co-crew chief for Ricky tonight. They're the ones that began 40 years ago what was a dream and now an empire for Hendrick Motorsports. Let's take a look at our Mopar starting grid. Jack Sprague, speaking of driving for Hendrick Motorsports, a NetZero Platinum Chevrolet, his 6th pole of the year, 19th of his career. He'll lead him down alongside 4-time winner Ted Musgrave. Back in row 2, welcome back to Mike Bliss. His first start since 1999. The 7-time winner qualified 3rd for Steve Coulter. Beside him, Rick Crawford, the Milwaukee Electric Pool Ford. How about an all-rookie row 3? Travis Waffle alongside Ricky Hendrick. Back in row 4, Dennis Setzer and the favorite son from nearby Bahama, North Carolina, Scott Riggs, in the Team ASE CarQuest Dodge. In row 5, Coy Gibbs, youngest son of Joe and Pat Gibbs, and the veteran in the series, Joe Ruttman, out of Upland, California.
16-year-old Kyle Busch starts on the inside of row 6, making his 4th start for the Roush team. And on the outside, Carlos Contreras up to 14th in the point standings. Row 7, we've got Nick Woodward, South Boston track champion, 11th in his only other career start at IRP earlier this year. And on the outside, Morgan Shepherd with his best career start. Row 8, Terry Cook on the inside, 10 top 10s. In the top 10s in 6 of the last 7 races, and Lance Nork and Brett's career finished up 3rd 3 races ago at Chicago. Row 9, we have John Wood, 6th at Nazareth 2 races ago, and Jimmy Hensley, a Busch Series winner here in 1985. Row 10, we have Billy Bigley on the inside, top 10s in his last 2 races, and Bobby Dotter up to 15th in the point standings on the outside.
And Matt Craftsman, rookie driver, inside row 11. Beside him, Michael Rich, making only his second start this year. He led 3 laps at Homestead. Ryan Rose and Rodney Sawyers. Sawyers very good at his home track. Michael Dawkins back at the NASCAR Craftsman trucks. And welcome back, Bill Lester. We'll hear a lot about Bill Lester next year. We'll tell you more later on. Jerry Hill, the ARCA veteran, is here. Willie T. Rebs in the Mopar Dodge. Tim Woods may be driving full-time for Jack Roush next year. And Ricky Sanders, second-generation driver out of Georgia. T.J. Minnan and Vince Whitmire. Whitmire, by the way, driving for Ed Renzi, making his second start. There's Dana White and Phil Bonneville in row 17, along with Morris Kaufman and Clay Young, provisional starters in row 18. 36 trucks and drivers will start for a purse of $370,000+. Now let's meet the 4 drivers who will carry our onboard cameras here tonight.
Hi, I'm Terry Cook, driver of the powerful diesel Ford F-150. Hang on, because you're about to find out how tough these trucks really are.
Hi, I'm Joe Rutland, driver of the Dana Dodge number 18. I can't believe you're foolish enough to ride with me.
Hey, you're on board with me, Scott Riggs, driving the number 2 Team ASE CarQuest Dodge, and we're going to light up the track tonight.
Hi, I'm Jack Sprague, driver of the number 24 NetZero Platinum Chevrolet, and remember, objects in the mirror are closer than they appear.
Thanks, guys. Some great shots, folks. You want to strap in on that slope, and this is going to be a good one. Remember Richmond 22 days ago? Well, how about some updated NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series news? Bliss is back. Welcome back to Mike Bliss, a 7-time winner in the series, driving the IWX Motor Freight Chevy for Steve Coulter. No Showalter. Gary Showalter is no longer with the Gibbs Racing operation. We'll explain why later. Dana leaving Hamilton Racing, going to a Ford team. They had a little problem with Chrysler. And Rib let go. Willie T. Ribbs will be relieved at the end of the season. We'll finish out with Hamilton Racing, but will not return for 2001. Let's check in the pits quickly with Amy East. Amy?
Well, Jerry, this is also a one-day show, and what that means is that they had a morning practice, they qualified, and then NASCAR impounds the trucks. So these trucks have not hit the track since their qualifying run. They were able to remove some tape, a little wedge adjustment, water bottle radios, very minimal changes. The track's a lot different now, so during the first round of pit stops, these crews are ready to make some major adjustments. Ray Dunlap.
Well, Amy, right over here is where they'll come into the pit road, and right over here is where they'll come out of the pit road. Now, it takes about 40 seconds to get around this pit if you're coming in, but it only takes 15 seconds to run a lap under here around green. So, if a guy gets a flat tire, he could have a big problem if he has to hit pit road.
Thanks, guys and girls. Welcome to South Boston, Virginia. Hold on, folks. Here we go. 250 laps, 100 miles on a 4/10-mile racetrack.
And that's how quick it takes to run 1 lap at South Boston Speedway.
There's 249 to go.
Take these guys a while to get their tires warmed up. It's awfully cold here tonight. These tires really do not act that well when they're cold, so the guys will take probably 3 or 4 laps to get a lot of heat in their tires.
That's Kyle Busch in the 99 making a move inside, or having a move made on him by the veteran Morgan Shepherd in the 21.
Morgan's made some pretty good time on the outside. None of the guys in practice ran on the outside of the racetrack. Look at Morgan driving. Well, he ran on a racetrack right there on the outside of Carlos Contreras. Very, very narrow racetrack.
Morgan cut his teeth at Hickory Speedway. That was his home track, very much like this South Boston, Virginia oval. And he was tough to beat. He ran that middle to upper groove at Hickory in the early years and had a hard time with anyone passing him. He was awesome.
The groove that Morgan Shepherd's running right now is the groove that we ran with the Busch Series here for the last several years. All the truck guys are right on the bottom of the racetrack, even below the yellow line. You see the yellow line on the right side of the screen. Below that, there's Nick Woodard right there, who's the track champion here. You see Scott Riggs right on the bottom of the racetrack. Battle for the 5th position right there. But the Busch cars ran a lot higher on the racetrack like Morgan was running.
Scott Riggs makes the pass. He's from nearby Bahama, North Carolina. Won the big late model stock car race here at this racetrack back in 1999. That's a 70 truck there going by. Morris Kaufman having trouble. The 19 truck is spun. The TruckTricks.com machine of Ricky Sanders, a rookie driver out of Georgia. That will bring out caution for the first time tonight.
Ricky has the truck refired, he was going to get turned around. The problem with this racetrack, the guys get around so quick, if you spin out, it's hard to do without losing a lap, and I'm sure Ricky's already lost at least one lap. Little contact there from the inside from the 91 truck of Michael Rich. Did not get to the outside wall, so now Ricky has a whole lot more damage than he had before.
Apparently some body work on that right front fender, getting underneath the front of the truck, having a hard time. There is Sprague. There was apparently some contact as he was coming across the racetrack.
I think Ricky, trying to get going, undoubtedly has run into Jack Sprague.
And buckled that left front fender of our pole sitter. Let's see if we can show you what happened a moment ago as Sanders was trying to get the truck refired. Here comes the field by. Watch Sprague trying to go by. Sanders comes down and boom. Oh, heavens, under caution.
Unbelievable. We've seen some strange things happen to Jack Sprague this year, but that may top him right there.
Now, we told you to be beating and banging, but folks, green flag beating and banging. Under the caution flag, we have our most significant damage of the night here in just 10 laps. Working caution number 1, our pole sitter is damaged. And under caution for a spin by Ricky Sanders. Back in a moment. Caution is our NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series exclusively on ESPN. Mike Dolan there driving the pace car, leading the field down. They took them down pit road, and they're trying to be able to adjust their speed while they are cleaning up the racetrack. There's a damage on the right front of Jack Sprague's NetZero Chevrolet, and we might explain what happened. On lap number 8, Ricky Sanders spun that in turns, had some contact with Michael Rich, and that caused Ricky Sanders to spin that in turn 1. Sanders didn't hit anything. They got the truck woed down. Caution comes out. He's rolling across the racetrack, and a moment ago, as Jack Sprague is coming by following the pace car, Sanders rolls down. Sprague stops. There's contact, and now Sprague has damage, and that's what's led to the front of Ricky Sanders' TruckTricks.com machine as they're trying to get him picked up there on pit road. We'll show you again what happened. Now, there's the truck of Sanders already stopped on the racetrack.
He's trying to go backwards. Now he stops. He sees Jack coming. Then he thinks Jack's going to stop, so he moves forward again and makes pretty significant contact with Jack Sprague.
Hard to believe. Well, 2001 has been full of ups and downs in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series title chase. With only 5 races left in the season, I want to bring you up to speed on how tremendous the championship point battle really is. Third in points is Scott Riggs, who started the season as an unknown in the truck. It didn't take long for him to become a household name, though. He has amassed a series leading 5 wins and 12 top 5 finishes in the Team ASE CarQuest Dodge. With numbers like that, you may ask, why isn't he the points leader? Well, mechanical problems have slowed him down, but his hard-working crew has kept him in every race and avoided the dreaded DNFs. Second place, Joe Ruttman started out the season on a winning note in Daytona. Since then, he has driven the Dana Dodge into victory lane only 1 other time. Consistency in the form of 17 top 10 finishes has kept him in the championship hunt despite a 13-race winless streak. Most importantly, Ruttman has been nearly invincible in the mechanical department, finishing all but 1 race and avoiding the demons that have plagued his competitors. Points leader Jack Sprague has been cursed with his own up-and-down season. 2 DNFs and various other problems have made it difficult to keep the NetZero Chevy in the points chase. But it's going to take more than bad luck to keep the 2-time champion down. With the momentum of a dramatic win in Richmond 3 weeks ago, Sprague might have enough fire to carry him to a 3rd championship. And talk about bad luck. As the pole sitter and race leader, he has contact with a truck under caution. As we'll check in down in their pits with Ray Dunlap. Ray?
Well, Jerry, they really have no choice but to pit here. They know that whenever they go back to green, that fender's going to rub on there, and they can't take a chance of that blowing out that tire and having a wreck like I talked about at the top of the show. So Jack Sprague is on his way down to his pit. He is here now. They've got the baseball bat ready to work on that fender. They've got all the parts and pieces ready. They're going to try to cut it off a little bit, pull it out, and do what they can do to make sure that that's not going to rub on the tire. He won't lose a lap here. They're lucky that it's under caution, but he will lose all that valuable track position. So instead of restarting first, he'll be at the tail of the field.
Unbelievable. 16th race that Jack Sprague has led this year. And Phil Parsons, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to say that might not be the last time we see someone work on a fender tonight.
I was just sitting here watching this, thinking about our Open when we talked about both sides of my car being beat off every time I raced here. And we're only a few laps in, and I'm sure there's a lot of other trucks with some damage too, because this is a tight racetrack. And we saw the guys running side by side there. We see some. Look at the smoke on the inside of Rick Crawford's truck, the 14 truck.
Yeah, definitely smoke inside Crawford's truck. Milwaukee Electric Tools machine as he's rolling very gingerly, and
I think the truck shut off. He's on pit road, but he's not anywhere near his pit. I think the truck stalled.
Now
it's
got
refired.
And still smoke coming from it. He's going to try to get over to his pits. Ray Stonkus and the crew waiting for Rick Crawford. Well, I'll show you what happened in the points thus far this year, the breakdown. 3 different leaders so far. We've had 3 different drivers lead the points, Ruttman, Riggs, and Sprague. 8 different lead changes. The longest lead streak was 9 races. Riggs led from Homestead through Memphis. The biggest margin, 118. Hard to believe anyone had a 118 margin, but Riggs did over Ruttman after Dover. The smallest point lead just a few weeks ago at Chicago. Riggs over Ruttman by 1 point. And Phil, the last 6 weeks, we have changed the points leader. Last 6 consecutive races, we've had a different name atop the standing.
Doc, it's been incredible. And I tell you right now, with Jack Sprague leading the points and him already having to make a pit stop, and he's actually running close to the last position, with track position is so critical here, I would not be surprised if we leave this racetrack with another point leader.
Crawford has been back on the racetrack and now back on pit road. And they called off the green flag because of a problem. Let's see, Amy, what's the problem with the 14?
Well, the initial problem was that the engine simply died, and now after further review, they are noticing that the battery cable that runs under the dash has somehow caught fire or shorted out. So what they have done now is, yes, again, they're telling me right now that they're using the kill switch, and that is now where they think that the short may be, because it seems as though, I can't see from my perspective here, but the crew is taken off as if Rick had slowed or almost come to a stop again on pit lane. They're going to try to run him down to his pit stall. They're going to try to figure that out. It could be a battery situation, or it could be something in the ignition as far as like maybe a kill switch. And so that's the problem for Rick Crawford.
Got a riding mechanic like the old IndyCar days. They're going to try to get him fixed. Rick Crawford coming off 4 consecutive top 5 finishes. They'll try to get it fixed when we come back. And quick update on the 14 truck from Amy. Amy?
Well, with the riding mechanic along inside with Rick Crawford, they went under the hood and they saw a lot of damage to the left front brake assembly. Turns out there was almost a small electrical fire for Rick Crawford.
And we restart here back at South Boston, Virginia, lap 23 of 250 after 1 caution flag for 15 laps. And Musgrave being shown as the leader.
Morgan Shepherd, the 21 truck, trying to work the outside groove again. Once the truck guys realize that Morgan's up there, then I think he's going to make some pretty good time. The guys don't realize that he's on the outside of them.
And for you NetZero fans, the NetZero Jack Sprague truck restarted back in 24th position. There's Mike Bliss, 16. Scott Riggs in the 2. Behind them is Ricky Hendrick. They are being shown in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Right along with Scott Riggs and the Team ASE CarQuest on board.
What a big lead Ted Musgrave right there has in the 1 truck. Ted Musgrave had an awfully good truck and practice, which, see, the practice was really happy hour and a qualifying practice all rolled into one. As Amy mentioned, they impounded the trucks after qualifying, so the guys had to do their race practice before qualifying. Ted Musgrave had a great truck. Fred Wenke said he was junk. I said, Ted, you're lying to me again. Fred, you're lying to me again. And look at him out here leading and driving away right now from Mike Bliss.
This is the 6th and final short track event of the year. Ted Musgrave won the initial short track event of the year out at Mesa Marin Raceway, Bakersfield, California, the half mile, as he dominated and led the most laps there.
And that was a racetrack that Ted had never seen prior to that race. This is another racetrack that Ted had never raced on, so he does well with racetracks he's never seen before.
And as Setzer trying to make a move there, you see Bliss. 2nd place truck, IWX machine for Mike Bliss.
Great to have Steve Coulter back in the Truck Series here. He was a long-time stalwart, had a lot of success with Randy Tolzman in the Truck Series, and great to have him back.
Randy brought him to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series after he was involved with Randy in open wheel racing. Of course, Randy won a race in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck, driving for Steve Coulter. Here comes Sprague back up through the field, going by the Ford truck.
Good heads-up move by Billy Lester right there. He saw Jack in his bike bumper. He knew he's got a great truck. He said, let me move over, let him go, and not impede his progress any.
Or slow him down, either one.
That too.
Yeah. 31 laps complete. Glad to have you with us. I'm Jerry Funch. That's Bill Parsons, by the way, who's run a lot of Busch Grand National events here. We're riding along with Jack Sprague, and he's finding his way through the field. That's Carlos Contreras. Right now, that's impeding his progress. Right there, what you said.
I don't know why they even draw a yellow line in the track. Jack Sprague has his truck almost completely below the yellow line.
Here comes Sprague on the inside. Carlos knows he's there, gets up in the middle groove, and Jack says, I'm buying.
Jack's going to have to show a lot of patience here. He can't beat the front end of this truck off, but yet he can't wait around for Ted Musgrave to get there, because the trucks are right now all the way aligned around the racetrack, and it's awfully hard to pass.
Caution again for the second time. A lot of smoke billowing out of the Nick Woodward machine, and a lot of folks here in this grandstand are just giving a big sigh because he is one of the local favorites, the reigning late model stock car series champion here at South Boston, Virginia, and boy, he was hoping to have a great run tonight driving the 84 truck.
A big break for Jack Sprague, though. He was able to pass a lot of trucks. Now he gets another caution flag to catch back up. So good break for Jack Sprague. Tough break for Nick Woodward. Very impressive at IRP. His first race out, finished in 11th position. Not sure exactly what happened. You see the truck wiggle right there. There's so much smoke from the right front. It's almost like you burn out a wheel bearing or something like that.
Driving for Charlie and Robert Long, both they are outstanding at preparing these trucks. Everyone they've had in their truck this year has run well. Chad Chaffin was in a truck. They've had Woodward. Richard Landreth's been in their trucks before. I mean, they've run competitively each and every week, so a big surprise that this truck would have problems early on. What's the problem, Amy?
Well, it seems to be a problem in the oil line. It seems as though it's just, they just need to tighten it up, and that's what happens sometimes with some of these teams. They try to rush. They want to come run with the NASCAR Truck Series. A lot of preparation that goes into running at this level, and although the Long brothers always prepare trucks magnificently, they sometimes overlook things, and they did not get that line on tight enough.
Amy, you know, we talked about the opening of the show, how the trucks were impounded. We just mentioned it a moment ago. The trucks were impounded after qualifying. That's when the guys would have done their pre-race checklist and made sure all that stuff was tight, did all the nut and bolting, and they weren't able to do that.
By the way, this team has a very special crew member that comes all the way from Texas. We'll tell you about him a little later on in the show. Under caution for the second time tonight. On ESPN, exclusive coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series here on the Worldwide Leader. Under caution for the second time tonight. We mentioned South Boston's Virginia. This Speedway is the shortest track this year on the circuit, 0.4 of a mile. But it is not the shortest track that these trucks have ever run on. The shortest track they ran on was out in California.
Saugus Speedway.
Exactly, in a little over 1/3 of a mile. We are back to green flag racing.
Winston Cup star Kenny Schrader won that race.
Exactly, one of the few times they ran there. Great little racetrack. Speaking of Winston Cup stars, Ed Musgrave pulling away by a couple of car lengths over Mike Bliss, who's getting all he can handle from behind by Scott Riggs.
That is all over Mike Bliss right now. Scott's able to keep his truck a little bit lower than Mike Bliss, but not low enough. There's not another lane down there yet.
Well, Riggs and Musgrave are teammates if you don't follow the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And here comes Sprague, rooting and scooting up through the back, and he gets shut off there by the 08 of Bobby Donner, by the way, who led at Richmond in our last outing up at Richmond International Raceway. 24 of Sprague making his way up. He's now in 19th position. Check that, make that 18th spot.
Jack's truck right now is really turning well. You see him, he gets in the center of the corner, just turns hard left, runs across the apron, especially off of turn number 4, and really making some good time. He just needs to keep his nose clean, keep all the nose, keep the brake ducts on the truck, and I think he may be a contender before it's over.
And he goes by Dana White, the 86 truck. Looking on the inside of the 81, that's Michael Dockett. He says, thank you, Michael, for the racing room. I'm gone. Wow, that's impressive.
He's picking them up and putting them down, that's for sure. Now, you see the damage on the right front. Now, you know, they've got it cleared away. It's not going to rub the tire, but he's going to lose a little bit of downforce right there because they really rely, you see he's got no lip on the outside of the fender. They really rely on those fenders for downforce, and he has none.
You're telling me he could be better than he is right now?
I think so. He would definitely, if he had a little bit more downforce, he would be better, but heck of a battle right now for the second position.
All right, I got to ask you now, put you on the spot. If you're Scott Riggs, how long do you wait before you begin to use the old chrome horn a little bit here and bang a little bit?
Well, I'll tell you, Scott's a pretty patient race car driver. We don't see a whole lot of beat and banging out of Scott Riggs. So I think Scott is probably more content right now to ride behind Mike, wait for Mike to make a mistake, maybe try to catch him asleep in practice or something, in traffic or something like that. But I'm sure they're going to get to the point, if Ted starts driving away a little bit farther, they're going to get to the point where Scott's going to be a little bit anxious.
Yeah. And what you're saying is you would probably have already nudged him, right?
Well, I wouldn't say that necessarily.
Okay. I watched you for a lot of years.
Yeah. I never said I was patient, though.
Okay. On the move here, up 7 spots, Michael Dawkins. How about a great run from Michael in the 25 truck? Started back at 25th position on the 18th. Take a look at Wood, up 5 spots. That's John Wood, the 19-year-old. Morgan Shepherd coming towards the front.
Talked to Dan Binks right before the race. He said, gosh, we had a great race truck. We just couldn't put it together for qualifying. So they didn't they qualified in the 17th position. Not as near as well as they would have liked, but he said, hey, we've got a good race truck.
John Wood, of course, the son of Eddie and Carol Wood, grandson of Glenn Wood, nearby Stewart, Virginia. Great battle here. Dennis Setzer in the 46 is the right side of your screen, working on the inside of the rookie Travis Quaffle. Setzer, who won here in the NASCAR Busch Series back in 1994. And how about our Dana headlight camera? This is Joe Ruttman with a camera stuck right in the headlight window, looking right underneath the cat rental machine of Travis Quaffle.
I hope for Joe's sake that we keep that view from that camera the whole entire race.
I don't know. What's the over and under on that camera staying put for another 30 or 40 laps?
Like 130 laps is the over and under.
Okay. Joe Ruttman giving us some great shots, courtesy of the fine folks at Dana on that onboard camera. Perfect location. Now watch him go below, watch Quaffle go below that white line. Watch that on the inside of the truck. Stand down out of the way. That's a 53 truck of G.J. Minnan.
You see Travis right there, right next to the yellow line. This is where right now you'll probably see him go below the yellow line. Watch the left side of his truck. Right on the yellow line. Did not get below the yellow line. We saw Jack Sprague with over half the truck below the yellow line.
Joe Ruttman second in the point standings, coming in just 27 points back of Jack Sprague. Great battles all around this racetrack. There is the 29. A little bit of smoke. A puff of smoke I thought I saw out of the 29.
I thought so too. Now we've got Morgan Shepherd on the inside of Boyd Gibson. We saw him try to work him on the outside. Now Morgan's got him on the inside. Kyle Busch in the 99 truck right behind Morgan Shepherd. Let Morgan open the hole for him. He's going to follow him through.
Kyle Busch began his career at Indianapolis Raceway Park, started in the back of the pack, had a great run, then almost won at Chicago, had his troubles at Richmond, and tonight makes his 4th ever start at the age of 16. He'll be full-time next year.
Talked to Kyle before the race, and he said, this track reminds me so much of Las Vegas, the short track at Las Vegas, where he grew up racing. He said, I really love it here.
And he has dominated at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, the 3/8 mile, in Legends cars and now in late model stock cars.
There we got a good view of Terry Cook way below the yellow line. And we also saw, there's that puff of smoke you were talking about, Doc.
Terry Cook was a major contender in this points battle until the problems they had at Richmond actually 22 days ago, back early in September, and he has sort of dropped away. He's still in the standings in 7th spot, but he's being shown now 256 points back. Had a radiator problem at Richmond.
They've had a great season, though. Even though he may not be in the point battle for the championship, they still have had a terrific season. We saw Kyle Busch in the 99 truck get by Morgan Shepherd. Now Terry Cook's working on Morgan, trying to get by him.
And 61 laps are in the books, and there are some special thoughts going out to one injured truck driver. Get well soon, Big John. He drives the big Caterpillar hauler for Travis. South Boston, Virginia, South Boston Speedway, the NetZero 250 under caution for the 3rd time tonight. This one coming out just a lap ago on lap 65, and Lance Norrick's Advantage Bearing Chevrolet involved.
Looks like there's going to be a little contact right there from Billy Bigley in the 75 truck. Just a little bump, but just enough to get him turned around. Lance was running in the 15th position, and that's how short this racetrack is. He got going very quickly and still lost a lap. This is him trying to actually get back to the leader, and almost does hit Rick Crawford and bounces off of Brian Rose also, trying to get, and did not get his lap back, to add insult to injury.
Frustrations already here at South Boston, Virginia, the NetZero 250 in the early laps. 68 laps of 250 are in the books. Shortest track on the tour, maybe one of the most exciting. I love going to all of them. Martinsville, Richmond, Memphis Motorsports Park, IRP, Mesa Marin. Sixth and final short track slugfest of the year. And you'll be able to see highlights coming up on RPM today. In South Boston, Virginia, the NetZero 250 as we are set for the restart. And Ted Musgrave will lead Mike Bliss, Scott Riggs, and Ricky Hendrick down.
Lance Norris jumped up in between Ted Musgrave and Mike Bliss. We saw him try to get his lap back. He is one lap down right now in the 23rd position.
Joined our coverage. We've had 3 caution flags. On lap 8, Ricky Sanders spun and under caution clipped our pole sitter, Jack Sprague, who had to make a pit stop to pull some fenders and get some sheet metal pulled away. And there is Sprague, mired back in the pack behind heavy traffic in the NetZero Chevrolet. Sprague restarted in 24th position and has now worked his way up to 13th spot. But right now, heavy traffic here on the restart for the 2-time series champion.
Side-by-side banging right there between Matt Craftsman in the 88 and Billy Bigley in the 75. Jack right now, he knows he's got a long way to go yet. We're only less than 80 laps into the race, so Jack's got to be a little bit patient right now.
And there's a rookie point for a bestest rookie of the year battle, showing Waffle and Hendrick separated by just 1 point coming into the night. Craftsman back in third, Billy Bigley. In fact, Craftsman and Bigley are side by side. 88 is Matt Craftsman, 75 is Billy Bigley. They are third and fourth in the rookie standings.
So Jack was finally able to put the lap truck of Timmy Woods behind him. What a great rookie battle that thing has been the whole year. Little contact right there, Matt Craftsman on the inside of Timmy Woods.
Tim Woods, an accomplished short track driver from the West Coast. Rumor has it he'll probably be a major factor in possibly a major next year in some of Jack Roush's races. Had a Roush uniform on when he got in the truck here tonight.
Talked to Max Jones about Tim Woods. He said he's got an awful lot of talent. They help him a little bit with his Winston West program. He does really well in the short tracks. Won a lot of races in Irwindale, California, some places like that. They're very, very high on Tim Woods.
Of course, they've got Kyle Busch and John Wood. I mean, they've got a lot of talent coming up in that Roush camp.
They sure do. And they've already graduated a few talented guys out of this series, too.
And I would say some guy named Biffle. And how about another Busch?
Big Busch.
Of course, Mark Martin and Jeff Burton, who's from right here in this town, South Boston, Virginia, they're not in his sponsors either in the Winston Cup program.
Exactly right.
There is our leader as we have a truck slamming the wall, hard into the wall, and a tire comes off and is bounding down the back straightaway in front of other traffic. That is Kyle Busch, the 16-year-old, and he hit it a ton.
That's about as hard as you can hit at South Boston Speedway.
Oh,
Kyle really hit that wall up.
He slammed it with the driver's side, front end, and the back end, and he's moving around trying to get the window net down. Amy?
Well, just prior to that happening, we'd heard over the scanner that he was radioing to his crew saying that he had an extreme vibration. It seemed as though it was coming from the rear of the truck. Just about that time, the rear tire actually came off of the truck, and that is what launched him into the outside retaining wall there in 1 and 2. Very lucky young man, but he was on it. He knew he had a vibration. There was some trouble. They didn't even have time to think about what they could do before that tire came off, and he crashed.
Wow, you can see that they pick it up there, and there's the damage on the front of the Eldon Ford for Kyle Busch. His 4th ever start, talented young man, 16 years of age, a junior in high school out in Las Vegas. He's taken extra credits from this past summer so he can graduate next June. If we can show you what happened here just a moment ago. bring out caution number 4.
See the sparks right. You see the tires already off the truck before he hit the wall, as Amy mentioned. It'd be interesting to see. You can see the wheel is still intact with the tires, so he either broke the wheel or the lug nuts came off or something like that. Joe Rutman, we're looking back right now at Kyle Busch. You see, going to see the rear tire come off, hit the wall first, and hard contact with the outside wall for Kyle Busch.
And thankfully, Wayne Alton and these safety officials here have these trucks inspected very meticulously. I mean, these things are built for safety, and he hit the wall with the driver's front end and back end, and he's okay, able to put the window net down and hopefully climb out here as they are there talking to him right now in the truck.
Got Jack Sprague coming back in the pits here.
Ray Dunlap.
Well, Sprague was talking about being very, very tight, so they're going to make quite a few chassis changes here. 2 rounds into the track bar, half a pound into the right rear and a half a pound out of the right front. So Sprague talking about being really tight. They wanted to come in with the leaders and not get out of sequence, but Jack said the truck really needed a lot of work, so they decided to get in here now, even though the leaders did not come in.
Now, talking with Jack Sprague and some of the guys in the garage this afternoon, they said, you know, we may come as early as lap 80 if we get a caution flag and go rights, lefts, and rights. The 250-lap race, and tires will be very critical here at South Boston. He has made his pit stop and put on some tires, and so we'll check and see what other guys will do. And we are under caution for the 4th time tonight due to a hard impact by Kyle Busch. Back in just a moment. Safety crews now picking up the remains of the Eldon Ford of Kyle Busch that slammed the wall down in turn 1 here on lap 84 to bring out caution number 4.
You see the sparks flying right there. The wheel's already come off. Do you see the wheel and hard contact? That's the worst place for something to happen, is going in the corner, because obviously you're running as fast as you are on the racetrack going in the corner. Once the tire came off, he had no control, no brakes. Another look at it from Joe Rutman's on board. You're looking back at Kyle Busch. Watch him going in turn 1 right now. You see the truck turn around. Hard contact. Once you get turned around, you're not slowing the truck down any other than a little bit of tire scrub from the 3 tires he still had on the racetrack.
Heavy damage for Kyle Busch. And under the caution flag here, the 24 has been on and off pit road, and the questions are, could they make it the rest of the way? Let's find out. Amy, you're down in their pits.
Well, Dennis, you guys have stopped. You filled it up now. The question is, can you make it the rest of the way?
Well, fuel really isn't a problem. Everybody can probably make the whole race on the fuel, but the tires, we're going to have to put rights, lefts, and rights on to keep anybody on the proper tires. So since we were already in traffic and behind the 8 ball, we've now got rights, so the next caution we'll get lefts, and I think in the long run it will be beneficial to us, and the NetZero Chevrolet will get back up front, unless we get involved in another skirmish.
Hey, that's short track racing, and this team, they never give up.
Well, take a look at this crowd here watching the NetZero 250 presented by John Boy and Billy. What a great crowd here at Joey Mattioli's facility, South Boston, Virginia. 0.4 of a mile facility. They expanded it back in 1994 to from about 3/8 to 4/10, and these are great NASCAR fans who have come from northern North Carolina, the Virginia area, the home track for the Burton brothers. Ward and Jeff Burton grew up in this area. They are watching exciting NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series action as we have 159 to go. We're in the NetZero 250, South Boston, Virginia, South Boston Speedway. Ted Musgrave leads them down.
Lance Norris beat Ted Musgrave to the start-finish line. I think that's a no-no right now. The leader's supposed to be the boss, so we'll see if Lance gets away with it. And then he runs Ted up into the outside wall, so I'm not sure that NASCAR is gonna like that much. We'll see if he gets the black flag.
We'll see if Dion Henske gets the black one out, and he does not. So they have let that one go, and Lance Norris, if he can get a caution flag, will be back on the lead lap.
Got trouble.
And he gets the caution flag and spin over in turn 2. That's the 68 truck, one of the local heroes, Rodney Sawyer. And Norris, if he misses Sawyer, he gets his lap back. And whoa! Sawyer tries to get going and nearly got our leader again. It's, wow. Let me get my heart started here again, and let me get Ted Musgrave's heart started again.
You're hard. What about Ted?
How about poor Ted? My heavens. Tough break for Rodney Sawyers, who finished second last year here at late model stock car points by just 4 points to Nick Woodward. They race in the season finale at South Boston. for the championship. He is a very talented young driver, hopefully going to run a lot more in the NASCAR Craftsman trucks next year. The Smirnoff Ice Dodge.
Great break for Lance North there.
Here's what happened a moment ago to bring out caution number 5.
Not sure what started. You see Coy Gibbs on the outside there. Not sure exactly what started, but you see all the smoke there. The guys, they're looking at the smoke here saying, I hope nobody's there when I go through this smoke. Rodney tried to get the thing going, and as we saw earlier with Ricky Sanders, almost made some serious contact with the leader. There's some contact right there from Coy Gibbs in the 20 truck, the MB&A truck. See, Coy's able to get by on the outside without making any more contact, and Rodney's trying to get going. We almost had the same exact situation we had between Ricky Sanders and Jack Sprague.
There's a damage on the back. Now, Coy Gibbs is a linebacker in this football season. He's accustomed to shoving his way through. Now, there's the damage on the back of that Smirnoff Ice Dodge for a good-looking machine for 68 for Rodney Sawyers.
Had some great battles at this racetrack with Nick Woodward.
Some of the greats over the years. Elliott Sadler was a late model stock car champion. Stacy Compton, the late model stock car champion. I mentioned the Burton brothers grew up here, Ward and Jeff. Jeffrey Bodine has won here back in the early Winston Cup days. Junior Johnson was the very first winner here. And how about a guy who got his very first Winston Cup victory here in 1971? Our buddy BP, Benny Parsons.
Mother's Day, 1971, in the Halifax 100.
Back when he had hair.
No, he didn't have hair then.
Okay. That was your brother that said that, by the way, BP, not me. And Terry Cook is in the pits in front of you, Amy.
Well, Terry's going to get right side tires, and I know earlier in this race we talked about some smoke coming out from behind that Power Stroke Ford. They're not concerned with it, you guys. They say no problem with the smoke. Great unlap.
Well, Amy, they're going to take a roundabout out of the left side here for Jack Sprague. Left side tires, put 1 pound of air into the left front. So now Sprague has right side tires and left side tires on his truck. So different strategies happening down here on pit road.
Great pit coverage, Ray and Amy, letting us know what's happening. And things happen in a hurry here on a 4/10 mile racetrack. As we check in now, Amy has caught up with Kyle Busch. Amy?
Well, things do happen here in a hurry, and that one snuck up on you. Kyle, first of all, you look okay, and that was a scary hit there in 1 and 2.
Yeah, it was, but yeah, I'm fine. It's all right. Just got on that restart and had a little vibration after I hit the wall from a lap truck, but you know, it's a tough break for the 99 Eldon Ford. We had a great run going. We were looking for a top 5, but luck didn't run our way today, and we ended up turned around in the front wall.
So now I would assume enough damage to where you're done for the night, right?
I haven't really had a chance to look at it, but I'm pretty sure we're done for the night.
All right, well, it's good to see that Kyle's okay, and we know he'll be back. We're hearing that he's going to be back full-time next year in that Roush Eldon Ford.
And the word is, Amy, that he has been cleared to practice next week at Texas, and then if he practices well by NASCAR's observers, he will be able to qualify and then possibly race. They take it one step at a time. Kevin Triple told us that's the NASCAR policy. Don't put someone in over their heads. He's just 16 years of age, and Texas is a very, very fast racetrack.
Well, it really is. But everything I've seen out of Kyle Busch right now, he's got an awful lot of talent. You know, he had no control over this. This had nothing to do with his talent. But I'm sure he'll be fine in practice at Texas and fine qualifying, and I think he'll do a great job in that truck in the race.
Indeed. Now he can only run 7 events, and this is his 4th start. He can only run 3 of the final 4. We're told he'll probably miss Phoenix, and they may have Greg Biffle back in the truck for Phoenix, as we have 4 events remaining after this one tonight. We go to Texas, Las Vegas, Phoenix, and California.
All clear.
Eddie Kraft telling Ted Musgrave that it's all clear. He was able to beat the lap truck down to turn number 1. See if Mike Bliss has anything right now for Ted Musgrave. Got no lap trucks in between. There's a lap, really many laps down to Rick Crawford, the 14 truck behind Scott Riggs. Rick's being shown 19 laps down with a myriad of trouble he had.
Dennis Setzer working on the rear there, trying to make a move inside of Ricky Hendrick.
Well, great to see Papa Joe back at the racetrack, wasn't it, Doc?
Hasn't been at the racetrack. Rick told me Papa Joe hadn't been at the track in about a year and a half, but he wouldn't miss coming here, where it all began for the Hendrick family. About 40 years ago. Papa Joe had heart surgery back early in June and was touch and go for a while, and all of us kept him in our prayers. He looked pretty good tonight when he said gentlemen start.
I think he looked great. He had that good, deep Virginia voice. Great to hear his voice again.
Indeed. Glad to have him here watching Ricky Hendrick, his grandson, the GMAC Chevy. Trying to hold off Dennis Setzer for position. That's for 4th spot.
Travis Quapple, the other part of the duo for the rookie battle, right behind Dennis Setzer. Dennis won this race. You saw that on the screen. Won this Busch race here in 1994. I'd actually started running again here in 1995. I ran all the Busch races from 1995 through last year.
And you actually finished 3rd here back in 1982 in the very first one behind 2 great ones, Butch Lindley and Sam Arn.
Yeah, those guys were terrific to race with. I'll tell you, when you came to Virginia, this area, Richmond or South Boston, you ran against a lot of different guys than you ran with necessarily all the time in North Carolina.
And when you finished 3rd behind Lindley and Ard, you've won, basically. And those guys were awesome.
They sure were. I learned a lot from those 2 guys, and both of them helped me a lot early on in my career.
Great racing all around the racetrack. There is Jack Sprague. And they have been a little bumping and beating back and forth. Sprague and Cook we're talking about. Terry Cook right behind him in the Power Stroke Diesel number 29, the Ford. Still a puff of smoke. You heard Amy said they weren't concerned at all about the smoke from the 29 Ford, so we won't be concerned about it. Cook started 15th, currently in 16th spot after that pit stop.
Little damage there with Brian Rose. Tried to get underneath Brian. Brian came down a little bit, made a little contact. You see Terry right on the back bumper. You know, Dennis Conner talked about needing to stop 3 times to the rights, left, and right. That may be the series that he's on right now, but I don't think the rest of these guys, the Ted Musgraves, the Mike Blisses, and the Scott Riggs, I don't think you're going to see them make 3 pit stops, Doc.
Can't imagine they'd make 2 more. No. Not with this kind of traffic, this difficult to pass the track position.
I think our other leaders right now, the guys that have not pitted yet, like the top 10 trucks or more, I think they're going to be on a 1 pit stop schedule. I really do.
A lot of traffic for Ted Musgrave. There's Bliss, Mike Bliss. Boy, he came roaring back to the NASCAR Craftsman truck series. Been away for almost 2 years. Comes back, qualifies in 3rd spot, has been running 2nd for most of the night.
Done a great job in this truck. So that's an awfully good team right there. They did a great job in the Truck Series before with Randy Tolsma. Had some good runs in the Busch Series. And now, actually, this is a truck that was a 1998 truck. It was sitting in the corner of the shop. They decided to put a new body on it and brought this thing out, and it's pretty good right out of the box.
Absolutely. You can see Dennis Setzer has made the pass on Ricky Hendrick in the 4th spot. Now, we'll see if Setzer can pull up and maybe make a move in on Riggs, Bliss, and company.
This is Dennis Setzer type of racetrack right here. But Dennis Setzer is good at all kinds of racetracks. But he grew up in Hickory, North Carolina, and this is probably the closest racetrack to Hickory that the Truck Series runs.
Dennis Setzer, outstanding short track racer. His dad was a great one, too. Jerry Setzer ran into hobby stock and limited sportsman up in Hickory. So he's a 2nd-generation driver.
Well, we don't want to pigeonhole Dennis and say he's just a good short track racer, because we're going to Texas next week, and he's won at that racetrack. One of the fastest racetracks on the circuit. Extremely competitive everywhere, especially since they brought Danny Gill on board this year. That truck has been up front every week.
Setzer has won in Busch Series competitions, won in NASCAR Craftsman trucks, won in the NASCAR Sportsman Series. He's run very well in Winston Cup drops for Bill Elliott at Talladega.
Joe Rutman's onboard camera, the Dana Dodge, looking out at the Cat Rental Chevrolet of Travis Quapple. Joe's currently 7th right now, moved up 3 positions, as you can see. Heavy traffic right there. How about Morgan Shepherd, Doc, right behind Joe Rutman up in the 8th position?
Morgan has had a great night. And this is the kind of racing, this is the kind of track that goes back to NASCAR's roots. Grassroots racing, short tracks, a half a mile or less. And these guys, like the Harry Ganson, Tommy Houston, and Morgan Shepard, and you mentioned the Butch Lillies and Sam Ard, they're what have the fans on their feet every Friday and Saturday down here, at least in the Carolinas.
Absolutely. You came up here and you would race against Sonny Hutchins, Bill Dennis, and people like that.
Tommy Ellis.
Tommy Ellis, exactly. A lot of great racers from this area.
I bet you Morgan Shepherd feels like he's about 29 years old tonight. I mean, when you're running that well, there's nothing wrong. And Morgan's just a couple years older than that. Although don't say it to his face.
Yeah, just a couple.
Just a couple. Great job he's doing. Here is Ricky Hendrick, and behind him is the 60th Travis Quapple. They are 5th and 6th.
So Nick Woodward is able to get by Ricky Hendrick. He's run a couple laps down. We saw his trouble early with that loose oil line. But he's got an awfully good truck. He was able to get by Ricky Hendrick, who's running in the 5th position.
We are just past the halfway point here on the NetZero 250 at South Boston Speedway. Back with more live Craftsman truck action in a moment. Virginia, we are under caution for the 6th time tonight. This one had an impact at the front of the field. There's a couple of trucks. There's the Dodge of Bill Lester. And our second place truck, the IWX Chevrolet of Mike Bliss, caught in this one. And those two trucks have come to rest at the entrance, or actually the exit to pit road, coming off of turn 2.
It's really the same. The entrance and exit for the pit road is really the same, one of the same.
Well, that's where they're sitting. Exactly. Tough break for Mike Bliss, who was having a great run tonight. And Bill Lester, in Lester's defense, he has had a couple of trucks nudging him up out of the way. He's been up across the racetrack into the wall. We'll show you what happened a moment ago.
Little chain reaction. It looked like Matt Craftsman made some contact with Bill Lester. Mike Bliss really just spun to try to avoid that accident. I think his truck stalled. I don't know if he has any damage or not, maybe a little minimal damage, but I think the truck stalled. Here's another angle. You see Matt Craftsman, the yellow number 88, get in the back of Billy Lester, turn him around. Now there's a chain reaction deal. Mike Bliss might have got a little help, got turned around, but I don't think he had hardly any damage, but his truck wouldn't refire. We're looking at a Scott Riggs onboard. You see right there, that's Mike Bliss right in front of him. There's the accident right up ahead of them. A little bit of contact from Scott Riggs right there. Incidental, Scott had nowhere to go and turned Mike Bliss around.
Michael Dawkin, also an innocent victim there, driving the Rick Ware machine, the 81. There's Mike Bliss in the IWX entry for Steve Coulter. Just joined our coverage. Bliss qualified 3rd, has been running 2nd most of the night. Jack Sprague was our pole sitter, involved in an incident during caution after the caution came out on lap 8, and here are the leaders now, headed down pit road at 30 miles an hour. Pace car will run 35 with Mike Nolan aboard. They are 30 in the pits. Let's go down to 80 East.
Well, our leader, Ted Musgrave, is going to lead a bunch of trucks down pit lane for what they are expecting, as we guessed, their one and only pit stop so far for this race. Ted Musgrave will come down and take right side tires and 2 cans of fuel. So they'll give him right side tires now and 2 cans of fuel. His ultra bad boy teammate of Scott Riggs is going to take right side and not wait on the fuel. So he does not beat Musgrave out. It's Musgrave, then Riggs, then Dennis Setzer, who had an excellent pit stop. Ray Dunlap.
Flamey Jack Sprague is back in, and they've decided to do left side tires this time. Dennis Conner, his crew chief, wanted to do right side tires here, but Sprague said the truck is bad tight, so they've decided to do lefts this time with an air pressure adjustment to the left front to try to make that truck a little better for him. He was the fastest thing on the racetrack whenever he was in the clear, but Sprague saying very, very tight.
And we were watching Travis Quapple's pit stop a moment ago. The Cat Rental team have had some great pit stops throughout the year, but that wasn't one of them. They had their troubles on the outside and a lot of frustration trying to get the lug nuts on the right side and get the truck off the jack. As here is Mike Bliss down pit road. Let's check in once again with Ray.
Well, this will be the first time they've come to pit road, kind of an amalgamation for a pit crew for these guys. A number of the over-the-wall guys were on the old Impact Motorsports team. They're doing right-side tires here. They did make a chassis adjustment, went down 2 rounds on the track bar there, and they took a little look to the left side here, but it was right-side tires for the 16 and Mike Bliss.
And it's going to be fun to watch him come back to the pack. He is one of the best at working the short track action. We've seen him in on some of our Thursday night thunders over the years. And there's a 60 for Travis Quapple. Let's check in his pits. Amy, what happened?
Well, it was a little bit of confusion. As we know, there is a pit penalty that is assessed if your right front tire, right front that is outside of the pit box. That right rear can hang out of the box. Well, rookie Travis Quapple thought, and he knew his right rear tire was out of the box. So he wanted to have the guys move the truck up. He didn't have his foot on the brake, so they couldn't jack it up. It was a chain reaction of one thing after another, when in actuality he wasn't in a bad situation there at all. He was okay, but he thought that he was going to be penalized if they jacked it up with that right rear out. So they waited, they had to regroup, and he lost a lot of positions on pit lane.
Wow. Well, some spicy short track action. NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series style coming your way from South Boston Speedway. Back with a restart in a moment. Come back to South Boston, Virginia. Green flag action. Lap 147 clicking off, so just over 100 to go. 103 to be exact. There's Morgan Shepherd. Great run for Morgan Shepherd and the 21 Ford. It's his own truck, doesn't have a sponsor. Comes to the racetrack, does the best he can with what little he has, and having a good one tonight.
He's doing a great job right now. I tell you, this is his kind of racetrack, as we mentioned earlier, but Doc, he hasn't pitted yet. We know Terry Cook has pitted. He does have to pit, doesn't he?
Well, you know, it's 100 miles, 250 laps. And by the way, Morgan is the leader, folks. I didn't mention, I let that little tidbit out. He is the leader of this race as we go ease up on 150 laps.
That's Nick Woodward out in front of him right now. He was 2 laps down. He was able to get by Morgan on the restart now. He's at the tail end of 2 laps down. He's 1 lap down. But we're looking out of Terry Cook's Power Stroke onboard camera here. The leader, Morgan Shepherd, doing a great job. It'd be interesting to see if he thinks he can go all the way on fuel, then, you know, who knows what might happen.
And no fresh tires for Shepherd, and he's hanging on there with Cook, who has fresh tires.
He certainly knows this racetrack. Morgan cut his teeth on racetracks just like this, so he's doing a great job. Terry Cook's all over him right now. I think Terry's got a better truck than him, but Morgan's keeping his truck right on the bottom of the racetrack. It's going to be hard for Terry to get by, unless he can sneak his nose right underneath him right there. If he can get enough of his truck up beside Morgan, then he'll have the position.
And Terry trying to be very careful. You see the left side of that Power Stroke diesel Ford inside the yellow line. Now he's got a nose inside of Morgan Shepherd. Grabs the bottom of the racetrack. Will it stick? Yeah. Terry Cook will take the lead.
Great pass by Terry Cook. That is a textbook short track pass right there.
And a very sportsmanlike pass. So he could have put the bumper or fender, but he didn't do either one.
That's right. Battle of 2 Fords right there. Terry Cook and Morgan Shepherd both driving Ford.
I think Terry Cook peeled the decals off that truck when he went by. I mean, that was close.
Sure was. You know, we see still a little bit of that telltale smoke, but Amy told us that the guys are not worried about it at all, and it certainly hasn't affected the performance of the truck. So Terry Cook is in a great position right now. He's only made 1 pit stop, and he made a pit stop several laps ago before most of the rest of the field.
And there's a 3rd place truck. Good run for Brian Rose, making his career best finish of 15th at Nashville this year. Making his 12th career start in NASCAR Craftsman Truck Competition. There's Ted Musgrave chomping at the back of Brian Rose's Sunclear Energy machine. Terry Cook, the leader. 2nd spot is Morgan Shepherd. Then comes Brian Rose having the great run to short track ace.
A little contact there right now.
Oh, and a couple of trucks spinning around that in turn 1. Carlos Contreras involved, the 54 involved of Tim Woods, the 3rd. And caution coming out for the 7th time tonight.
It'll be interesting to see if the guys that pitted 1 time will come in back again for the left side tires. We know Jack Sprague's pitted 3 times for tires. It'd be interesting to see if the guys up front are going to come in to get their left side tires.
Rear end damage on the 61 there, the Ed Renzi-owned truck for Vince Whitmire. Some of the back, basically the tailgate is missing. Take a look at the hoses on top of the fuel cell. There's the 54 truck of Tim Woods. 61 comes on pit road. TruckSeries.com sponsorship on the side of that machine. They'll have some work to do there.
It's going to be hard to patch that thing back together. His spoiler's actually on the tailgate of that truck, so the guys don't seem to be in a big hurry. See the 61 truck already in the outside wall there. Everyone else taking some evasive action. Looks like some contact there. Probably Carlos Contreras looked like he may have slowed down when he saw the 61 truck on the outside wall. Here's Terry Cook. This is our leader, Terry Cook. We're going to take a look from his onboard, his Power Stroke onboard. See the 61's already in the outside wall. Then there's some contact, some great moves by a couple guys to get by this. That's Nick Woodward right in front of Terry Cook, so he's going to get 1 of his laps back. He's only 1 lap down now.
And remember, Nick Woodward is the local favorite. He knows this track better than anyone here. He is the reigning late model stock car champion. As we work caution for the 7th time tonight. Vince Whitmire's Ed Rincey on machine on pit road. Back with more from South Boston in just a moment. Speedway under caution. You know, each week in our Craftsman Pit Profile, we spotlight the people who work behind the scenes to make this series so successful. This week, we want to tell you the story of one crew member who truly knows how to help a team become super. For the long run, he lives in Dallas, Texas, and flies cross-country every week to work on the race car in North Carolina and to be a jackman. Mike is originally from Charlotte, North Carolina, was an All-Atlantic Coast Conference kicker for 3 years at North Carolina State University with Mincy State to the 49ers, 2 Super Bowls, not a bad career, and now to NASCAR's Craftsman Truck Series.
How about that? Great guy. Great, and a good race car driver, too.
And he's working so that maybe he'll get a chance to get in one of these trucks and drive full-time. He mentioned he's Rookie of the Year in the Featherlight Southwest Series a few years ago. That's why he's doing it. He loves man, but he wants to be behind the seat, behind the steering wheel, and hopefully in the near future he'll get that chance.
We have to mention Morgan Shepherd pitted, gave away his second place position, and pitted under this caution flag.
Restart. Lap 165 after the caution was out for 7 laps. Harry Cook is the leader, but here comes Musgrave. As I said back in Richmond, where did he come from? Ted Musgrave just roars by Harry Cook.
Terry's got about 40 more laps on his tires than Ted Musgrave. They've both only stopped one time, but Terry stayed out a little bit longer than Ted Musgrave. Stayed out longer than Ted Musgrave since he pitted. Dennis Setzer on the inside of Scott Riggs. Scott into the outside wall there.
Remember that tight points battle. Riggs is right there among the leaders. Back in third spot at 57 back. Can't afford to be playing bumper tag here on a very tight short track. There's the points leaders together. Riggs in third spot. There comes a 24 Sprague, who is the points leader. And you're riding along with the Dana Dodge on board for Joe Ruttman. Great camera work, guys.
They're running 5th, 6th, and 7th right now in the race.
And the points as of now, Sprague would actually improve his lead by a few points, 36 over Ruttman. Riggs would stay put 57 back.
Trying to work his way back towards the front. Mike lost a lap on that one spin out there because he was not able to refire his truck.
Bliss looking on the inside of Ruttman. Can't quite get the nose down the stick on the bottom of the racetrack. And heavy contact in the back of the 91.
And Billy Bigley there in the 75 truck.
Billy Bigley is involved. The 91 truck,
Michael Rich
hit from behind by the 54 at full speed here in turn 1. Looks like Michael was trying to avoid something, and the 54 had nowhere to go. There's the front end of the 54 truck, and they hit wide open going into turn 1. Unfortunately, these trucks are built so well, but take a look at the damage. There's the 8 of Willie T. Ribbs, the 21 of Morgan Shepherd.
What a tough race for Morgan Shepherd. Had a great run going.
Morgan led here tonight. Morgan led 15 laps earlier. Now he will back his Ford Craftsman Truck Series entry up and try to get away. There's heavy damage from Willie T. Ribbs and the Bobby Hamilton-owned machine. Window net is down, thankfully. Willie is okay. Here's what happened a moment ago.
See, Ricky Hendrick ran in the back of a 93 Jerry Hill because the 91 truck is already in the inside wall, and Tim Woods came along, as you mentioned, just drove right in, just hit him extremely hard at full song.
Watch this lick here in the back. Boom, and Willie T. also. And then they pushed Morgan Shepherd right up into the wall. He had nowhere to go. Great camera work, guys, giving a great angle of all those trucks involved in an incident down in turn 1. Hard to cover it on a short track this tight. Good job, guys and girls. There is the Billy Bigley machine moving away. Look at the damage on that truck. My heavens. And we have red flagged it here, and rightfully so. Wayne Alton, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series official, realizing there's so much debris on the racetrack. Let's not risk it. Let's get this track cleaned up. So the red flag means, if you're not familiar with NASCAR policy, that means we will stop the trucks. They cannot work on them.
The drivers will stay in, and let's update the situation on Morgan Shepherd, Ray.
Well, Jerry, just kind of wanted to update what they had done when they came into the pits that last time. They did right side tires there, but keep in mind, Morgan Shepherd has 2 crew members with him for the weekend. Many of these teams have 15, 16 guys. He has 2 with him, so it takes a long time for them to do pit stops. That put him pretty deep back in the field, and that's part of the reason why he was involved in that crash, because where he had restarted after being a leader of this race earlier.
Boy, frustration there as you see him getting ready to climb out. We mentioned under red flag that the longtime NASCAR official, Hugh Dalton, is here. He was a longtime official in the short track at Hickory Speedway. His son, Wayne, is the series director. His other son, Buster, a longtime veteran Winston Cup official. Good to have Hugh Dalton here watching NASCAR action at South Boston. Back in a Amy, who's standing by with a driver who had a great performance tonight.
He sure did, Jerry, and he hates to see his truck all banged up, but Morgan, outstanding run tonight. I know you guys made the call to come down and pit, and that's what put you back in that situation, but was that the only call that you decided to make there at that point?
Well, first of all, I'd just like to say our prayers is with our country and our president. Yes, we put a little more effort into the race here, the qualifying and all. But this team needs a sponsor, and we rounded up some guys, and they changed the tires, and I told them I'd ride around a little bit, because I knew it'd probably be a wreck, but got caught up in it. One of those nights.
It sure was, and it was nice to see Morgan Shepherd running up front.
Indeed it was, and I tell you what, I grew up watching Morgan Shepherd race. I'm not saying he's old, because he's not. He's not the way he drove tonight. I mean, he's as good as anybody out there.
Well, you're not saying you're young.
Well, that's true. That's true, too. Well, thanks for reminding me that. I appreciate that, Phil Parsons, son of a gun. Anyway, they have fired the engines, by the way, but Morgan Shepherd is great on the short tracks. I wish he could have finished tonight. But we're going to finish, and Ted Musgrave leads him down, and we'll come back with a green flag at South Boston in just a moment. South Boston Speedway, South Boston, Virginia. I'm Jerry Punch, along with Phil Parsons, Amy East, and Ray Dunlap, who's standing by watching the Terry Cook pit stop. Ray?
Well, Jerry, Terry Cook felt like they had a left rear tire going down on the Power Stroke Ford, so he just radioed in and said, we can't take a chance. They came in, made a wedge adjustment, and now we'll go to Amy.
Well, because of Travis Quapple's miscue early, they decided they really had nothing to lose here, so they came down and gave him some fresh left side tires and sent the young rookie back out.
All right, thank you, guys. Great coverage in the pits. Again, remember, next week, we head out to Eddie Goss's Texas Motor Speedway for the Silverado 350 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Coming up next Friday night, 1 a.m. Eastern Time. It's delayed about 3 hours from the finish of that race on ESPN2. It'll re-air on ESPN Tuesday, October 9th at 1:30 Eastern Time. That's the NASCAR Craftsman Trucks at Texas Motor Speedway next Friday night, the Silverado 350. For more, log on to ESPN.com.
You know, Bruce Smith may think he owns a little bit of that racetrack, too.
I knew I was going to hear that from you. Eddie Gossage runs the track for Bruce Smith. Heavy damage. You're worse than Benny, correcting me on this stuff. Heavy damage on a short track night. Back with a green flag in just a moment. And how about this Scott Riggs fan here? Riggs from Bahama, North Carolina. There's an ESPN and Scott Riggs fan. We thank you very much. We mentioned Scott's from Bahama, which is about 20 minutes south of South Boston, Virginia. He can hang on to that sign. Enthusiastic young fan. You know what? You know where Bahama, North Carolina got its name? From the 3 families who lived there. The Balls, the Halls, and the Mangums take the first letters of their last names, and they named the town Bahama.
How about that?
Thus, Bahama, North. I told you something you didn't know.
Absolutely. I appreciate that.
And take a look at our short track pack. Average finish. Who else? The veteran Joe Rutland.
Hasn't won yet on the short tracks, but the 3 guys that have won, Scott Riggs, Jack Sprague, and Ted Musgrave, are all running in the top 5 right now.
And how about Greg Biffle, the only champion without a short track win in his title season? Greg, of course, a defending series champion. There have been 4 series champions in the history of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series over 6 years.
Greg won one of our races earlier this year, just a few weeks ago, really, at Nazareth, Pennsylvania.
He didn't win it. He dominated. He brought out the big whipping stick that afternoon with
sure did.
The Eldon Ford.
Looks like they're maybe getting ready for a restart here. Going to double up. There's a lot of speedy drive put down from that earlier accident.
They are blowing the track off here. We mentioned we are at South Boston Speedway, the NetZero 250. $370,720 up for grabs tonight, 250 laps. on a 4/10 mile racetrack, shortest track of the year. Let's check in with Amy East, who's standing by with Fred Wayne.
Better hurry, it's fixing to get
Yeah.
loud.
Is it really? Fred says we better hurry because it's fixing to get loud. All right, are you going to pit anymore? You guys going to stay out there and run away with this thing?
Right now, we're going to try to stay out and run away with it. But you know, you never know. Right now, we're pretty good, so we're gonna try to stay out. You know, the Mopar Dodge running awful good. I called an old friend of mine, Chad Fox, and drug out some old shocks we used to run in Portland, Monroe, and a few places, and they're working pretty good for us.
Hey, why do you always tell Phil Parsons you guys are junk and then you go out and either dominate or win races? I knew that would be your answer. Good old Fred Wanke. He's good for a laugh every now and then, huh?
Fred is a lot of fun. What an outstanding, all jokes aside, what a talented, that guy's forgotten more about racing than most people ever know.
Sure has. He's won a lot of races with a lot of different guys in this series.
And riding along with Jack Sprague and the NetZero Chevrolet, let's update his situation, right?
Well, Jerry, he just came on the radio and talked to his crew chief, Dennis Conner, and said, this racetrack is in terrible shape. He said, if we go green right now, you're going to see the biggest wreck you've ever seen in truck racing. He said, very, very slippery out there, but they've given him one to go, and we'll be coming to the green.
Actually, just a moment ago, Ray, as you were saying that, they must have heard you because they said, no way, we're going to call it off. Dion Henske waving the yellow flag. Wayne Alton and the crew knowing that safety comes first in NASCAR racing. They're going to make sure this track is nice and clean. There was a lot of speedy drive. There's Dion Henske with the yellow flag back out. And NASCAR inspectors will send out the trucks to take a long, hard look at the racetrack one more time as they look around the racetrack to make sure it's completely clear and clean. Let these trucks run through that speedy drive.
Nobody wants to see these trucks run around under the caution flag, especially in NASCAR, but hey, safety is the #1 concern. They've got to get this racetrack raceable. Jack Sprague says it wasn't, and the NASCAR guys listen to the drivers in a situation like that.
Absolutely. I've been around this racing for 18 years doing Winston Cup and Busch Grand National, and that's the one good thing. These people listen to their competitors. What's safe, what's not safe, what should we do? They bring them into the trailer if there's a rain delay and talk to them, and it's exactly what's happening with Wayne Alton. Well, Lance Norrick has had problems earlier tonight in the number 90, and now is being shown in the Adventist Bearing Chevrolet. Let's see, he had struggles, lost a lap early on, but is now being shown in 4th position. So a great run for Lance Norrick.
We saw him get his lap back against Ted Musgrave. They got an early caution. Actually looked to me like he jumped the restart, but they got by with it, got back in the lead lap, and here he is in 4th position.
Great run for Lance Norrick. Best finish this season was 3rd. Had some good qualifying runs. John Monson has done an outstanding job. He's taken over as crew chief at Memphis back in June.
Got a mad dog right behind him, though, Jack Sprague.
All clear.
Eddie Thrath giving Ted Musgrave the all-clear sign again. There's Mike Bliss on the inside right there. He needs to get back by Ted Musgrave to get his lap back.
Now watch Bliss and Setzer. Bliss is as aggressive as they come on a short track. Very cut his teeth in open wheel competition. A 7-time winner in the NASCAR Craftsman Cups. He can't quite hold the inside, and Setzer pulls away a little bit. Once again, the 16 truck is a lap down.
That's what the trucks turning 9,000 RPM sounds like when they went by that speed shot there, Doc.
Now the blue and red truck, the 84, that's Nick Woodward. He was 2 laps down. He made up the lap. Now he's trying to get by Rick Crawford. He is the reigning late model stock champion, remember here. He knows this racetrack. If he can get back to the front, he has a shot at getting back on the lead lap.
He sure does. Right now, there are only 15 trucks on the lead lap. Right now, Scott Riggs would sure like to get by him, though. There's some contact.
Whoa!
It's probably not the first time those 2 guys have made some contact at this racetrack.
I will bet that's not. 2 guys are running.
But Nick needs to give way. Scott's in the lead lap right now, running 3rd. He needs to give way to Scott Riggs.
And 3rd in the point standings as well.
His day is going to come, and it's going to come very soon. So he's got to give the guys in the lead lap a little bit of courtesy right now.
And he did as he gives him a little courtesy tap from behind. Less than 60 laps to go here at South Boston, Virginia. Looking back at Nick Woodward. Remember the name, folks. He will probably come onto the series very soon as a full-time competitor and a talented young man.
Bounced off the wall there a little bit.
Musgrave is our leader. Dennis Setzer is second. Briggs is third. Then comes Lance Norrick. Great run for Lance Norrick. Right behind Norrick in fifth spot is the 24, our points leader, Sprague. Behind him is the guy chasing him in points. And on the racetrack, as you take a look at our Dana headlight onboard camera, that's right in the headlight. Whoa! Right up on the back of the NetZero Chevy comes Joe Rutman. Oh, my goodness.
Both Jack Sprague and Joe Rutman and Coy Gibbs are able to get by Lance Norrick. Coy Gibbs, we haven't talked a whole lot about him. That pushed him up in the 6th position.
Nice run for Coy.
Coy trying to sneak a look on the inside of Joe Rutman in the Dana Dodge.
Big American flag on the hood of that MB&A Chevrolet for Coy Gibbs. Many of the teams have American flags on their uniforms. They held American flags when they stood for the national anthem. Here's John Wood in the 50 truck. He was being shown in 9th position as he goes to the inside of Lance Norrick, who now is being shown back in 8th.
Ricky Hendrick going to follow him through. Matt Craftsman, the truck, the bright yellow truck right in front of this group. He was able to get by Lance Norrick a few laps ago. So there we have now Terry Cook's going to follow Ricky Hendrick by. Boy, once Lance Norrick got hung on the outside, he's just not able to do anything. He's able now to dive down in front of Travis Quaffle, which is not going to make Travis Quaffle none too happy.
And Travis hanging tough on the inside. So wait a minute, I've read this book before. This is my chapter here. Travis Quaffle takes the Cat Reynolds chapter.
Lance is having a lot of trouble keeping his truck down at the bottom of the racetrack. When he slides up the racetrack, that allows the guys to get underneath him. They get turned a little bit better in the corner. He's lost a number of positions just in the last 5 laps or so.
Battle for 8th spot, Ricky Hendrick, 21-year-old in the 17 GMAC Chevy, and the 19-year-old John Wood.
Ricky got his nose underneath him, got down to the corner beside John Wood. Able to make the pass. Terry's going to follow him by again. You see on the left side of your screen, that's Nick Woodward. He made an unscheduled pit stop. So you Nick Woodward fans, he's now gone at least 3 laps down with an unscheduled pit stop.
As you said, his day will come. He has proven to a lot of people he can chauffeur when it counts.
That resistant puff of smoke out of Terry Cook's truck, but as Amy said earlier, it didn't seem to bother him at all.
And there's Jimmy Hensley, who's won 2 poles in Busch Series competition, also won a Busch race here. Started 18th. A little bit of smoke from the MetLife Dodge. Randy McDonald on the machine, Randy Merrill McDonald. MetLife folks donated $1 million to the families of those who lost their lives, the firemen and policemen and emergency workers in New York City, and also $100,000 to the American Red Cross. Very patriotic gesture by the fine folks at MetLife. There is Ted Musgrave, and if Musgrave wins, if a Dodge wins tonight, they will clinch the manufacturer's title for the first time in the 7-year history of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. So it could be a big night for the Mopar fans if Musgrave can hang on. Back with more in just a moment. Here tonight, the 9th time.
See Coy Gibbs right there in the 20 truck. He actually spun out over there in turns 3 and 4, was able to get back going. I think he was able to get back going without losing a lap.
And we'll show you what happened here in just a moment ago on lap 216. Coy Gibbs in the MB&A Chevrolet. You just see him sliding by. You see Jimmy Hensley was on pit road. Just got a glimpse of Gibbs going by.
Ricky Hendrick was a truck immediately behind Coy, but we could not see whether there was any contact or not.
Those two have had some contact a few times this year. And just a reminder, baseball tonight will be coming up next. Bill Pito and Company. Bringing you up to date on everything happening in Major Leagues as the season winds down. I'm Jerry Punch along with Phil Parsons, Ray Dunlap, and Amy East, bringing you the final laps of the final short track race of the season here from South Boston, Virginia. Let's bring you up to speed on what's happened thus far. We told you excitement would happen in the Herd Track Impact. We've had 8 caution flags, make it 9 caution flags now here in 218 laps.
Big break for Mike Blisser. He was able to get his lap back on that caution flag. Ray?
Well, Phil, the thing is, he was by far the fastest truck out there on the track, and we just noticed that crash in the up to speed there, but they are now back on the lead lap, and Bliss has been talking on the radio saying, if we've got enough time, we can win this race, no doubt about it. They were the fastest truck out there. Mike Bliss back on the lead lap here at South Boston. We'll be back with more NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series racing.
Here on the Worldwide Leader, ESPN, the final laps, final 30 laps coming your way. Then comes baseball tonight. Coming up next, Bill Pito and company get you up to date on what's happening as the Major League races wind down. That's coming up here in just a few minutes. Final 29 laps to go here on the final short track race of the season for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And once again, if Ted Musgrave holds on, he drives the 1, the Mopar Dodge. Dodge will win their very first manufacturer's championship. Getting set for the restart in turn 4.
Again, Ted Musgrave able to beat the lap truck on the inside down to turn 1. Gives him about a 3-truck length lead over Dennis Setzer. Riggs on board right there, the Team ASC Dodge, looking out at the second place truck of Dennis Setzer, the Axiom Chevrolet.
On board the Dana onboard camera for Joe Rutman, following points leader Jack Sprague.
There's only 25 laps left, Doc, and that camera's managed to last this long, so it definitely went over.
You had to say that, didn't you? You just jinxed it. Joe, I didn't say it. That was Phil Parsons. There's Crawford in the 14 truck. As you watch Musgrave go by, Dennis Setzer in second spot.
Rick Steele being shown a number of laps down there from his earlier troubles. Once Jack Sprague gets up to Rick Crawford, he needs to move over and let those guys go and race, and I think Rick Crawford will definitely do that.
Once again, baseball tonight coming up momentarily. Final 22 laps. It only takes 15 seconds a lap here at South Boston. That doesn't take very long, folks. So you baseball fans, hang on, enjoy some NASCAR Craftsman truck action. Coming up in just a moment here. There is Ted Musgrave. So we got a Dodge, a Chevrolet, a Dodge, and a Chevrolet in the top 4. Musgrave. We're seeing possibly history being made for the first time in a long time. Dodge could win a manufacturer's championship in NASCAR.
Not only, Doc, would this be the first Dodge manufacturer championship, but they've never finished better than 3rd.
Exactly. So possibly a history-making night for NASCAR's Craftsman Truck Series.
Going to be some happy people down there with some red Dodge hats and shirts on, aren't there?
I guarantee you.
Of course, it's not over yet either.
Now 20 to go.
There's Mike Bliss. He's already back up into the 11th position. There are 15 trucks right now in the lead lap. Mike's moved back to the 11th position. You know, we heard a report earlier. He said he thought if he had enough time, he could win this race. Unfortunately, I hate to be the bearer of bad tidings, but he does not have enough time.
Unfortunately, the clock is not his ally, nor is the lap counter. 18 laps to go for the IWX Chevy, but great to have Mike Bliss back. I hope Steve Coulter will decide to bring him back on a regular basis because this was fun to watch him work the traffic.
How about Bobby Dotter there in the inside working on Max Craftsman? Another great run for Bobby Dotter, up in the 10th position right now, racing for the 9th position.
Bobby led laps our last outing at Richmond International Raceway.
A lot of experience in this racetrack in the Busch Series for Bobby Dotter. He's done a terrific job tonight. That team's getting better and better.
They are. Possibly got a sponsor, Stanley Steamer folks coming on full-time next year, and boy, he will be awesome if they get a sponsorship to run up front here every week. It'll be 15 to go as they click by this time. Musgrave the leader. Setzer in second. Then comes Musgrave's teammate, Scott Riggs in third. Then the pole sitter, who was the pole sitter, Jack Sprague. Then Rutman. There is Musgrave. It is Dodge, Chevrolet, and Dodge in that order in the top 5.
Fourth place runner right there, Jack Sprague. You know, what looked like could be disaster early on is probably not going to turn out too bad for Jack Sprague. If he can stay up there in the 4th position, he's going to finish ahead of Joe Rutman, his closest point pursuer, in only 1 position behind Scott Riggs, who is his 2 positions behind him.
And the points as of now, right now, you see that race stays very, very tight. 162 points back to the 5th spot. Travis Quaffle with just 4 events remaining after tonight. We could go to the finale in California with still a handful of guys capable of winning the championship on that very last day.
That would be terrific.
Battle for 7th spot. Power Stroke Diesel has it. That's Terry Cook, Travis Quaffle Wilson in the Caterpillar Chevy.
Travis made a late pit stop there. Amy documented his trouble on pit road, made a late pit stop for left side tires.
We've seen that puff of smoke all night long from Terry Cook. He told Amy not to worry about it. Guess what? They were right.
They were right. I'm not going to worry about it anymore.
I'm not either. 9 to go. We probably just jinxed him, too.
So we were somewhere and he actually blew an inch for 3 laps ago. I know. But we don't want to jinx him at all.
Great short track action for the NASCAR Craftsman trucks. Huge crowd on hand here at South Boston, Virginia, just above the North Carolina line. Just not far from Danville, Virginia, about an hour and a half north of Raleigh, North Carolina. Final short track race of the year for the NASCAR Craftsman trucks. Just 4 events remaining. We're in Texas next Friday night, then Las Vegas, then Phoenix, then the finale in California. It'll be 6 laps to go for Ted Musgrave. The former Winston Cup veteran hopes to become a 5-time winner if he can hang on for just 6.5 more circuits.
That would match his teammate, Scott Riggs, who leads the series right now with 5 victories. And there's Scott Riggs right there, the Team ASC Dodge.
One handful from Dion Henske holds out 5 fingers. 5 laps to go. 5 laps away from a manufacturer's title. Wonder if the Dodge folks watching out at Kansas Speedway, and they're going to have Busch and Winston Cup racing action, are jumping up and down. They should be. What a big night. They came to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series first, and then Ray Evernham led them into Winston Cup competition. They've won a title here now as far as manufacturers, and folks are getting better and better when it comes to the Cup. They won't be far off there either.
Exactly right. I'll tell you what, I'm not going to listen to Fred Wanke anymore, Doc. He lies to me on a weekly basis. I'm not going to listen to him anymore.
Ted Musgrave's crew wearing a very special shirt tonight. They all say, "United we stand." It's been a very tough couple of weeks, a very, very difficult week period for our country. So much patriotism, so much pride, so much courage. And tonight, so many in the stands waving and showing the red, white, and blue. And tonight, Ted Musgrave showing the colors of Mopar and Dodge. Final lap, folks. History being made at South Boston, Virginia. On a Friday night in September 2001, Mopar is a manufacturer's champion. So Musgrave takes the win. Dennis Setzer is second. Riggs, Sprague, and Rutman rounding up the top 5. And there is Fred Wanke as they celebrate on pit row. For Ray Dunlap, Amy Yeast, and Bill Parsons, I'm Jerry Punchman, congratulating Ted Musgrave on his win tonight at South Boston, Virginia. Remember, next week we're at Texas Motor Speedway on Friday night. Coming up next is baseball tonight. You'll be able to hear from Ted Musgrave on RPM today and RPM tonight with Whit Watson on Sunday. been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Congratulations to Ted Musgrave and Dodge, a brand new manufacturer's tire. So long, everyone.